Okay. Ready. All right, welcome to the January 19th, 2021 Bristol Planning Commission meeting. The first one of 2021. And yay, so much better, right? Basically, this is our first meeting as a board where we're not going to be reviewing applications. And right now we don't have a plan or zoning or subdivisions to mess around with at the moment. Anyway, so welcome to that. So the first thing, any additions or adjustments to the agenda? Does anybody have anything? I have one thing. It sort of ties into under administrative matters, but it falls under grant opportunities. But I want to remember to bring up a grant opportunity. It's not a grant really, it's a program, a shade tree preservation plan. It may already have been picked up by somebody in town, but we can talk about that when we get there. Okay, so the first thing to do is to review and approve the minutes from 12/15/2020. Has everybody been able to review those? Would anybody like to make a motion?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Is there a second? Oh, is there, you would think I would know how to do this by now. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Jeff, I also realized, well, let me just finish, and any discussion. Before we go any further, pause, we do not have a minute taker.
Oh.
So I just realized that who's going to raise their hand and volunteer to take minutes tonight, and then we can decide how to move forward from here. I don't see any hands going up.
I can do it. But I have to get
Okay, I knew I'd pressure you into Jeff. I knew it was going to be you.
Let me get a pad.
Thank you. We do have a recording, so you can always go back to that.
It'll be short minutes because I only have a small pad.
All right, we won't say much. Okay, any discussion on the minutes? Okay. Seeing none. All in favor of approving the minutes? I can't remember how to do it. New year. What did I forget?
There is no approval of the minutes. You don't vote on it. If there's no discussion, they're automatically deemed approved because you cannot not approve minutes.
Okay. I approve the minutes. Let's move on. Okay, great. All right, administrative matters. I was going to introduce Melissa Hernandez, but she is not here. So I hope she is all right. Because I had a conversation with her and she was planning on being here. So we won't do that. I asked Chris to just go over everybody's terms, planning commission terms, so everybody knows when their term is up, because in March is kind of the end of the March meeting. Then is the sort of should be our annual meeting. And I don't know if we did this last year actually, but we will need to be electing a new chair because my term is up. And I think it's good for everybody to know how long their terms are, because I never seem to know. Maybe I'm the only one. But you want to go over that, Chris?
Sure. First and foremost, the information is up on the town website. It's under Planning Commission. There's a table with all of your terms on it. So let's go through it. Katie, Bill Brown, and Bill Sayer all expire March 20th, 21. Lloyd, Robert, and Tom all expire of March of 2022. Kevin and Jeff are March of 2023. And Melissa was appointed to the vacant spot that's listed there, which will expire in March of 2022.
Okay, thank you. So as I said, I'm not going to be the chair any longer. So that's going to be, we'll have like a election, you know, just an informal vote in the board. And I cannot be it again. So just keep that in mind.
Prior to that meeting, we can also send out your organizational document. You can review it and modify it before that. So if you want to change things from the chair to the way you run meetings, that document I can send out to the group this week. So you have it in advance and just review it and see if there's any changes you want to make.
You're going to send it out this week.
Sure.
Is that what you just said?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that would be good because I think it would be good for everybody and that the responsibilities are spread out a little bit more. I mean, we had a lot of work this last year plus. I just think it works better if we somehow divide it up, and I think people just get more engaged and know, you know, are more involved with what we are working on. So we can discuss that at, I guess we could discuss it at the February meeting. Okay, the next thing I have is I wanted to find out if everybody is receiving the Addison County Regional Planning newsletter. Does everybody get that?
I don't.
You do not. Okay. You can choose, it can be sent to you through regular mail if you would prefer, or email. Would you prefer regular mail? I know you're not home right now.
Yeah, I prefer regular mail.
Regular mail. Okay. We can set that up. I can have that set up at work. What is your, I'm going to write it right down. What is your mailing address? I'll just do it. Not in Florida.
No, probably electronically works better in Florida, but normally it's 1077 Burpee
Okay.
Road.
What street are you on?
Burpee.
Oh, okay. All right. And I'll get that. Because there's actually a lot of good information in there, and you should at least flip through it and look at grants that are opportunities for projects. And it just, you know, I didn't read it when I was on board, but now I think it's very valuable to read. I was going through it recently, the last one, and there are a lot of, you know, grant opportunities, and there's always a lot of stuff out there. Some are just small projects that, you know, you can figure out how they might work to the benefit of your town, our town. There's an opportunity right now for a shade tree program, and I actually can bring it up on my screen share. And there's the match is basically volunteer time. So it's like an inventory. You work with someone in the state. And I was going to talk to Valerie or see if anybody on the Conservation Commission would be interested in working on that. And if anybody on this board is interested in that, I think that would be great. Maybe somebody else may already be working towards doing this, but
I would touch base with Valerie, because for some reason I thought whoever was heading up the Emerald Dashboard thing, they were going to look at having them take on that program as well.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. Just touch base with Valerie on that.
All right. But that's just one thing. There's a lot of small grants, and sometimes they're for projects that are, you know, already designed and just need, you know, a pedestrian walk bike pedestrian project right now. If you had a section of sidewalk, there's money for it. If it's improving pedestrian access, that sort of thing. So it's a good resource to look at and, ask questions about. And because we're going to be obviously moving more into projects and that sort of thing, as opposed to, as I said, reviewing applications. The next thing on the agenda is to get a just status update and a little review of the Green Peak Solar Project. And Chris said he would review that. Did you remember that? You told me that. I sent it out to everybody, so people are aware.
Yeah, just give me a second. I just got to pull it up. Okay, I'm ready now. Yeah, so Green Peak has submitted their 45-day notification to the town, I believe. They're looking at doing a solar array up on the Lathrop property. For those of you who aren't aware of it, it is the infamous gravel pit site where they wanted to put a gravel pit years ago that it was ended up in a no-go. So the large field, if you're standing at the creamy stand and you look out across the plateau, there's a large green field you can see there. They're proposing to place a solar array on that green space. Like I said, they have sent it to, I believe they're at the point where they have sent out their 45-day notification and they're moving forward with this project. As we know, we don't have an enhanced energy plan, so the town really doesn't have a lot of say in this project. It's really going to go to the Public Utility Commission for their approval, input, and such. Not a lot of changes to the site. There will be an access road that's brought in down almost across from I don't believe they're going to use the existing Cane Hill Road just because of the steepness of it. It's going to be a little further west. But for the most part, it's just a big old array that's filling that big green piece you can see up there.
Best viewed from the top of the ledges. Kevin?
So as far as all the nuts and bolts, I assume that the Lathrops they've got an arrangement intact with the Lathrops or whoever owns that land, and financial back and all that kind of stuff to make this happen, or are they still in the planning process?
They're way beyond planning. Mr. Lathrop is on board. He's the one who, I believe, reached out to Green Peak. They're ready to go. Like I said, they're at the point where they're sending out their 45-day notification to start the Public Utility Commission process.
Valerie sent that out. Well, I got it. I don't know. I saw that. It's interestingly, it's not in our preferred area. I'm just curious. Rob, did you guys look at, and Kevin, or did you look at that area, or did you stay away from that?
We tried, one of the things we tried not to do was identify individual sites on a case-by-case basis across the town, because that would have been too exhaustive to do.
Yeah.
But if there was always a path that it could be identified as a preferred area individually in the future, apart from those that we deemed.
Right.
Hey,
I mean, just
hey, Katie.
yeah.
do you want to open that document up and just share it so people can see the image? That's when you send out.
Yeah, I just have, yeah, okay. I have the,
Just the PDF that they sent out. It's
Yep.
the same one you attach to the email.
Yep. I just gotta find my email now.
Try it, Bill.
I know the feeling. Took me forever to find it.
All right.
Tom,
Yeah,
she's like,
we're
I
waiting
got
there.
it. I got it.
Just a quick question. I think it's been stated before, but what is the approval process and the bodies involved?
there's not a lot of town input. Really what's going to happen is they're going to apply to the Public Utility Commission for approval of this project. The PUC is the governing body that will give yay or nay to it. About the only thing that they have to abide by are zoning regulations, if we have any. They have to be aware of wetlands, which there are some. I know not wetlands, but there's a watershed protection area because of our town water source on the eastern side of the project. But other than that, it's really they present the project to the Public Utility Commission. The Public Utility Commission will go through rules and regulations at a state level and either grant them a certificate of public good or not.
So I'm hearing that this is not an Act 250 issue.
Not to my knowledge. So
And
There it is. Does everybody see it?
okay, so just to
Can't
get your
miss it.
bearings,
Yeah,
just to get your bearings where things are, if you look on the upper, right there where the mouse, was, right
River.
there, is the bridge. So that's the South Street Bridge. As you come down South Street, that's South Street Bridge right there. The road that you can see predominantly in the bottom of that is that right there is Pump House Road. That goes back to the town pump house. And South Street continues on. If the picture is larger, it'd go around the bend and you'd be at Lathrop's Mill. So
Right.
that's
And
Just
right
to
here
go-
is where they would come tie into the power line, correct?
correct. Yeah, the only real adjacent landowner that's got serious impact is the one that you can see right there in the center of the picture. That's the Buska family. They're down at the bottom of that basin.
Right here.
You drive by their house when you drive to the pump house, but other than that, there's really not a lot of impact. Because Lathrop owns most of the land surrounding this site. The cross-hatched area on the right-hand side that you see, that was when I was talking about the
Sure.
wellhead protection area. That is, again, the town water system. If you go just a little bit further up, you'll see sort of a building right there.
This is right here.
That is the pump for
Yeah.
the pump house where we get all of our water for our town. It's a drilled well that we pump from there and then push it up to the reservoir and then it gets distributed from there.
So, I mean, it makes, I mean, as Chris said, we don't have any say in it, but I mean, I think honestly, it makes sense to be here. It's, tied in with other utilities. You can't see it from the road. Well, can you see it from the road?
Yeah, you can see that plateau from West Street without a problem.
Right. But it's not right in your face.
I mean, yeah, I mean, every time you look to the left from West Street, it'll be very visible.
Okay.
But-
Well, you'll
But it's
see it.
irrelevant. Whether it can be seen or not.
Right. I'm just saying that, it's not as if it's right, in someone's backyard in their face. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to say anything. It seems to me, I mean, it has a buffer of trees around it. You don't have to take a lot of vegetation down or none to install it. I don't know.
No,
And it's-
their plans were to take very little, if no vegetation. That was what was sort of enticing about the site. It is whatever the acreage is, 30 acres or some such thing of current active ag land that they'll be taking out of use. That they will have to, that I think they'll have to address with the Public Utility Commission. But other than that, there's not a lot of limitations on this site.
So there it is. How many kilowatts does it say in here? Oh, 2.2 megawatts.
Yep.
So could I just ask a question or two, since I'm
Mhm.
unfamiliar with this? So if we had an enhanced energy plan, would the town have more of a say in what's going on, and what would the town's prerogatives be?
Those are a little untested waters, at least in Bristol. We would have, I mean, I don't actually know the procedure, but we would be able to talk about screening. We would be able to, we would basically look at the siting and the siting section in the energy plan and make comments and have a voice at the table. I think that we haven't done it before. Not a lot of people actually have tested this process, but it does give the town more of a voice than no voice.
I believe as far as screening is concerned, that is something that the town can influence without the enhanced energy plan. So it comes down more to siting versus not siting at a particular location.
Well, I think screening is, well, at least according to Jim Dumont, screening can't be discussed if we don't have an enhanced energy plan. We have no say.
My
Yeah,
recollection,
What?
is right in the PUC requirements that the town can influence screening.
I
right.
think it has to be at a certain time, maybe. Go ahead, Chris.
It can influence if you have screening listed in your zoning regulations. I know like Panton had very clear screening regulations for solar. The fact that we don't
Okay,
would be the difference. And that was really why you would want to do an enhanced energy plan, or at least at a minimum, beef up your regulations. As far as screening is one of the few things the towns actually had with just generic zoning regs that they could influence the project or not.
So let me ask you, Chris, when we were doing our zoning regs, we actually discussed that, and I was under the impression that we were not allowed to put measures in there to screen solar. Maybe the law, maybe something had changed between then and now.
Yeah,
Do you
between
know?
2016 or 2015, actually, I think, or whenever we were discussing it, we passed them in 2016, so it was in 2015. There was very little in the law that we could do. I know just again working on Penn that they had changed theirs around 2018, 2019 after a couple solar fields had been put in their town. And screening, I think, is one of the very few elements that the town actually could request from the PUC. You can't they didn't have the final say. The PUC would look at the zoning regulations and say, hey, they prefer to see screening and they want to see one tree every 10 feet of a certain species or type, or to shelter it from the primary roadways or whatever it is. We have none of that. So at the end of the day, what we really get is the project you see in front of you, the Public Utility Commission will take in effect. What is its impact on the greater good?
There's lots of interpretations, though, along the way,
Oh yeah.
depending on your attorney. Or not. So, but it's important that we all, know this and know where we are. And I think there are going to be changes to the energy plans and that whole process that it's going to be looked at again in 2022 energy plan determination standards. So I think it's evolving. There are going to be more towns that have energy plans and are going to, take advantage of their, opportunity to question some of these things and see what happens. So
Yeah, because this project will be treated just like the Green Lantern project down on South 116 or the landfill project, where they go to the Public Utility Commission and they make the rulings.
Yeah, just some comments on this.
sure.
Looking at the picture, it looks like there's vegetation all around it anyway, and most of the screening usually is trees. They're bushes that they recommend. I guess the one thing you can't really tell from the view is the elevation. The trees may be below what the field is. I think, if we have reason to test it, we can, gather our facts and ask to be an interested party or something. If it didn't need a little more screening, I don't think it probably would oppose it too much. Save them a lot of time having the delays or something like that. And this project probably would take us a ways in fulfilling the state requirements on meeting our energy needs by a certain time. So just a few thoughts on that.
Well, it will definitely work towards the targets for Bristol. No question about that. I mean, I think that in terms of having any role in discussing it as a planning commission now are that's kind of past.
Yeah.
So
Unless we find something but if we did find something objectionable, then it might be worth looking into it. But I don't know if we have anything really against that area. There'd be some road usage there and the construction particularly. After that, it shouldn't be too bad.
no. So the only question I have is, when you guys were putting together the energy plan, we have a goal that we need to meet as a community. Do we know where we're at? Are we at 20%, 40% of what the projected goals are, whatever they're counting from what we currently have in our community?
I don't know. The energy committee might know, but I do know that Andrew LaRoe has been putting together these energy sort of report cards for all the towns that have energy plans and looking at that specific issue. And I believe that he did one for Bristol. So he knows. And so if I just haven't gotten it from him. Which I think it's actually a pretty interesting idea because he looks at other things too, sort of the breakdown of what's happening.
Yeah, because I mean, in the last 12 months, including this one, we'll place 3 fairly large arrays in our community that should, God, it's got to be getting us close to our requirements. But again, I can reach out to Andrew and just get those numbers. It's more of a personal question more than anything.
Yeah, seems like the trick will be all the residential half a dozen panels here and there, that sort of thing, which will add up as well, and how, who's keeping track of that or how that information can be gathered, you know?
There is a website, which is called Energy Atlas. I think it is, I can't remember the name of it, but I think if you type in Vermont Energy Atlas, it has all the towns in Vermont, and it has basically a list of all its solar and wind. And I think, well, no, it also has methane. And it, Vermont Energy Atlas dashboard's in the title. So we used that when we were doing some of the energy plans to double check numbers that we had gotten from other sources. And it seemed to be pretty good. You can get to an Excel file for each town. So, and you know, it's not, I don't know where the Green Lantern project is. Have they installed that?
I honestly don't know.
I get all that, but I guess my point is when you start, you know, Suncommon puts a few here and, you know, Electronic Lab or whatever his name is now, puts a few there. Are they,
Yeah.
how do you,
They all have to
reporting
go
all
through
that stuff?
they all have to go through the PUC, even the one panel.
Okay.
Do you have panels, Kevin?
No, we're part of a leased field over in New Haven somewhere.
Okay.
We have a share in a solar field.
But I just want to make sure I understand correctly. The town does not have an enhanced energy plan now. Is that correct?
It's it's in our plan that won't be voted on till.
Okay. Okay, so it's pending approval.
Right, just like our 10 plan. Okay. We're ready to move on. Does anyone have anything else they want to? Tom? If you can get your mute off. Do you want to talk, Tom? No, okay. No, thumbs down. All right, anybody else? I can't see. Are we done looking at this screen? Okay. Everyone's so quiet. Can't wait till I'm not the chair anymore.
I was trying to find those numbers. I could not find them easily, but I think that size of 2.2 megawatts is roughly about a fifth of what we needed for additional generation in the town to meet our final goal. If I remember correctly, I could be off, but I think that's about what it was.
How big is the one at the dump, Chris? Don't know.
I don't know.
And the Green Lantern one isn't that big. I don't think. Anyways. Okay. So that's all for, I guess that wasn't really administrative matters, but. Right, so new business, which is actually a little bit of old business. Just going through my notes, I saw this sheet of proposed zoning updates that we discussed while we were wrapping the plan up, and we decided to put some of them or table some of them till after we finish the plan. So I think it's important that we go back to that before we forget about it, and have, you know, I mean, I don't know if we want to discuss this tonight, but I think the bigger kind of overall umbrella next topic is, how do we want to plan for the upcoming, I guess, year or 6 months? So we're not coming to each meeting trying to decide what we're going to talk about, that we actually have an agenda for, the future, or at least the year, have a list that we want to pick off.
A plan for planning.
Yeah. So, and as I said, once again, I only have like one meeting left to be the chair, so it won't necessarily be up to me. And I think it might be nice to kind of come to some loose consensus about what we want to pursue. I mean, obviously things are always going to change, things will come up, but one way, I think it's important to tie up the loose ends, like the zoning issues, and anything else that I haven't thought about in terms of loose ends. And I guess look at the plan and look at what we had for implementation actions and say, okay, well, which of these do we want to address? I have some feelings about that. I'm sure other people have feelings about that as well. So I thought maybe we could discuss that. So, and kind of get an idea of how people want to move forward. But before I forget, we have to remember that our town plan is not adopted yet. And we're going to have another vote like we had for the subdivisions where, we're not going to be able to talk about it. It's going to be, a vote. Maybe some people will mail things in. We won't have that time in the, in Holly Hall to put boards up or whatever and just, promote the town plan. So we should do a little bit of public awareness and outreach about the plan again. Because otherwise, we have to give people an opportunity to maybe get in touch with us and ask questions. So I did that before when we were going through the public hearings. I put some boards up in some of the storefronts, but I think we need to do something else like that. So I am open to suggestions and anybody who wants to volunteer to do something. But I think it's important that we do some kind of outreach to get people to vote for the plan. Otherwise, all of our work is in vain. So thoughts on that first?
So I guess I got a couple tactical questions. I don't know if he's done it yet, but Scott's expected to sign legislation that gives towns a whole lot of flexibility with town meetings, when to have them, how to have them, all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
do we have an understanding how Bristol is planning out town meeting? Are they going to use the traditional town meeting day and do an Australian ballot or move it or what? And then I guess the other thing, South Burlington, and it's been an issue with school boards, is if a board promotes something as opposed to just explaining it, giving education material, you run the risk of having to fill out paperwork with the Secretary of State for politicking. I can't remember exactly what the right word is, but so we need to walk that path rather as explaining, not pitching.
Right. Well, we were already given money by the state to update the plan.
Now this has to do with when a board, and in the case of South Burlington, it was their school board, takes it on to the point that it is construed to be influencing as opposed to explaining.
No, I see what you're saying. I think that I could argue against that for the plan. Since we were given money to update the plan, we updated the plan, we worked to update the plan. Why would we only be why wouldn't we only be in favor of voting for the plan?
And not only that, by statute, the planning commission is charged with updating and modifying a plan in a certain time frame and time window.
Yeah.
Right now, I think it's every 8 years you are required by law to have done that. So I think
We're
this one
behind.
you're fine because you're staying within your parameters and what your charges are. If you were to move on to another project of socioeconomic growth on Plank Road or something like that, where it was not your charge by statute, then you might be crossing that line, Kevin. You just have to be a little careful when you walk that.
I'm not getting that complicated. I'm just saying that when we present this stuff, it's not to encourage people to vote for it, it's to explain. It's what it is.
Well, that's fine.
So,
I guess, so we just need to let people know ahead of time
Right.
that it's
What's
on the
up?
ballot and where they can get information. The plans should be on the website. People can get copies of the plan. I mean, we could, just let people know it's,
We can also explain what the changes are, just
Yeah.
as we did with the prior.
it's just
well,
a
I think
matter,
if people reach out, yeah.
it's just a matter of being objective as opposed to influencing.
We can't say, vote for this plan or we'll shoot your puppy.
I mean, we can. It just
And
creates a
you
real.
might get run out of town.
I mean, you can. It just creates a real,
Famous
very
Harvard
unique
Lampoon
legal issue.
cover. Don't you remember the Harvard Lampoon, the National Lampoon cover, a dog with a gun at its head?
Oh,
Said, buy the magazine or we'll kill this dog.
I do remember that. Can't do that anymore. Well, maybe you can. Apparently you can. Okay.
Tom, you have a question?
Yes. Okay, that didn't get us anywhere. So,
Right,
gonna-
it didn't.
so
Who's
how are we
gonna
gonna
do
do-
it?
how are we going to do this? We're going to use Front Porch Forum, the Addison Independent website, whatever else, but we've got a month to go, month and a half to go.
Yeah,
So we need to do something affirmative and say, this is what we're going to do.
yeah,
And only guessing that those are most easy way to get to the population, open for other suggestions, but to do that, we need to do that sooner rather than later to get responses and be able to respond.
right. And honestly, I've got to have somebody else do it because I couldn't even manage to get your Front Porch Forum on, Jeff. I'm just swamped.
Yeah, I guess
So-
the other point is we need to understand what the voting process is going to be too.
Right.
To
Right. And
make that part of the.
either Scott made the announcement today or it's happening tomorrow or something, but it's soon. And I don't think the town has decided yet because they were probably waiting to hear. No, I don't have.
Yeah.
Scoop in
I mean, Sharon should have an answer by tomorrow, I would assume. They already had a plan in place, and I think they were just waiting to make sure that that plan would coincide with, what is it, Act, whatever, 42 or whatever the hell they just passed today. That Scott signed.
But we could still put something on Front Porch Forum now and just saying that as part of whatever is on the ballot for town meeting day, the plan, a vote to approve the updated plan will be on that ballot. I don't know what else is going to be on that ballot.
Have you worked with Sharon to make sure that we are on the ballot? I know that sounds silly, but
I
I
have
just
not,
thought about that.
but
as soon as you said that, I'm like,
I think Valerie somebody should have been on that. Because I don't know. I'm assuming that we are. Because we had a lot of meetings with Valerie and you, and that was what we were working towards. I do not know, but let's find out tomorrow. Yep.
Is any budget for any outreach or anything like that? you said there was a grant in order to update the plan. Is there any sort of budget for anything to finance, say, a mailer or something like that?
You have in your budget general planning money that probably could be earmarked for such a thing. It's in the past, we've always used it to hire consultants, but in a lot of years, it never got spent either. So that was one of the mechanisms we used to pay for Addison County Regional Planning Commission, for Adam to be here during the work he did for us. Having Katie and Andrew here, those were things that were used in the past. But you guys, I think, are beyond needing a consultant between now and the end of the fiscal year. So using some of those monies that are sitting there, like you said, for a mailing or for newsprint ads or something like that, probably could be an easy justification of the use of those dollars.
Yeah, I think we could do that.
I was just trying to think of something different because the response hasn't been what was desired for Front Porch Forum and the other things that we've done for the last,
Right.
for the subdivision update with the zoning regs and everything else. So
I do think it's important to do multiple media. And some people only look at the Addison Independent. Some people never look at Front Porch Forum. You can put a couple posters around, the small posters. And I think if you hit those different medias, that helps. So does anyone want to volunteer to see what our budget is, the Planning Commission budget, and look into putting an ad in the Addison Independent?
I know you have at least $4,000. You may have more than that.
Well, we can put a public, well, I don't know if you can put a public notice. No, you can't, unless it's
No.
a notice, yeah.
No, they're only used for warnings.
Well,
I mean,
it
it
won't
would
cost
be-
$4,000 to do an ad.
No. That's what I'm saying. You have plenty. I think you have plenty of capital. It would be in the same section. It just wouldn't be a public notice. It would just be a purchased ad of some sort.
I mean, we could do a mailer and then it can go out to all, you can do it to all the residents and you don't have to actually pay for stamps. I don't believe you can just stamp it. That's what and that's what another town mentioned to me.
I thought we still had to cover.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those that I think if somebody wanted to reach out to Sharon, the town clerk, and just run by some ideas by her, that would probably be a good thing. And she could give you the information as far as like, if you do X, here's the process you need to do and what the cost may or may not be at that point. Like, let's say you want to do a mailing and it's 50 cents a postcard for the printing and postage. And here's the number of people you need to send it out so we can do the math and find out if it's financially viable. I think that's really important data.
Well, if anyone would like to volunteer, I know you would, Tom, you want to work with me on this. And I mean, I have, we could do an 8.5 by 11 fold thing. And that we could just do like a small poster that has all the information. But we might want to wait then to do something like that until we know what the town is going to do. So, but we could also do a Front Porch Forum just as a reminder to people in town that we will be voting, that the plan has been approved or, by the Planning Commission and the Select Board, but it needs to be voted by the town to be adopted.
And you'll
So
be
I think that would be good as a Front Porch Forum reminder, and that could happen anytime, in saying that, but we should probably check with Sharon before if they do know how they're going to handle town meeting day.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Does I was just looking at plan again. It doesn't have an executive summary, right? As far as I know. We
No,
don't have a short
no.
something that says, this is what the town plan does? Because I'm just wondering how many people are going to read a 169-page plan?
They're not.
Maybe that's a good thing that they all won't read it. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm just thinking whether a short summary of what the plan says, if that's possible to do. I'm not sure how many pages that would be, or just what it says would be useful. Does anyone think that would be useful?
Yeah, like for the zoning regulations, somebody, I think it was regional planning, drummed up a list of what all the changes were.
Right.
Did we not, and we didn't do that for the plan?
Well, that was before the vote or the public hearing. Yes, we did do a summary. We did do a memo, and I have that
Was
actually.
there any substantial change because of the hearings?
No.
So it sounds like good information.
Right. I mean, it's basically the forest fragmentation section, flood resilience section.
I mean, to Jeff's point, people would be interested in what's new. Not-
Right. And
not
that's
what-
usually actually, and well, our town, the warning for town meeting, does that go in? Does that go into the Addison Independent? No, does it?
The actual warning,
Oh, is a report.
yeah, I mean, the only thing that'll be on the warning would be whatever the verbiage is on the ballot. That's how they'll warn that. They don't do the summary and all that. That was just for the hearings.
Okay.
And we only have one more meeting before town meeting, correct?
Right.
Yep. Unless you want to have a special meeting, you can pull another one off
Why would we want to do that?
because you love planning.
Well, I think that I don't think we need to have another meeting to discuss this. I think that we can, if, we have a couple of people on the board that are willing to maybe have a couple extra conversations and get the word out with using, if we're going to do a mailer, we'll put something on Front Porch Forum. Basically, as I've said several times, I just don't want that to be left to me to do all those tasks. So, I'm willing to talk about it and advise, but I don't want to be the leader of that.
Well, if we have specific language that we know we want, I'm happy to post it in Front Porch Forum a couple of times. I mean, we do it numerous
Right.
times.
Well, what do we have on our website that nothing? I mean, it should be on the website.
I mean, the plan probably, I mean, I could dig for a minute. I think it is.
I mean, there should
Almost.
be a notice on the Bristol website that the plan is being voted on town meeting day.
Well, the problem is there's not to find that kind of link and where it would be on their page would be a challenge. The front page is very limited on what they posted. They try not to clutter it with every board's needs, desires, whims. So
Well, yeah, this is kind of a big one though.
every board says that. I'm just letting you know. I update the website on a regular basis, and we have this discussion almost every time somebody submits something, what's actually going up. So I agree, the town plan, it's part of the vote. How we get that out there, I agree that should be up there. Once they have the warning finalized, which they may or may not have finalized Monday. The other piece is somewhere there needs to be a communication that's more people-centric. The memo we have that we sent to the select board, honestly, if I didn't care about planning, I wouldn't read it. It's full of ick. It's very,
Yeah, it's wordy and technical.
Yeah, and it doesn't jazz somebody up to go, hey, maybe I want to go read the town plan, or what are you talking about? What is forest
Fulfill the
fragmentation?
bureaucratic-
Yeah, I mean, I'm the kind of planning nerd that goes and reads it, but if there were a lot of us out there, you would never have a vacancy on your board. So I think humanizing it and making it sort of fun and engaging to be like, hey, did you know that we've added this chunk on I'll stay with forest fragmentation, and that this is so that we can protect the blah 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 and get people engaged. So if they want to go read the minutia, they can.
Okay, well, we have to make some decisions. I fully understand that. And it's just, we need to make a decision how we're gonna do a little outreach on this. So, I mean, that can be, so who would like to work with me on this, please?
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Yeah, I figured, because I'm asking who would like to work with this on me, please?
I nominate Melissa.
What? Oh, Melissa, well.
That's
I
right. You
nominate
don't
Melissa.
show up to the meeting,
on,
you get the
guys.
job.
So could I just go backwards a second? I'm looking at the town website now, and under public notices, it has a section on Bristol Town Plan Update. Notice of public hearing, which is, of course has already passed
Right.
December 14th. So I would assume that there could be a link there to, town.
Right. There is a
Elected
place on the website.
plan.
I mean, I have been keeping tabs on the website to make sure that our public hearings have been posted and that people can actually
There is, the memo
find it.
is there, which I agree with Chris is total bureaucratese. And then there's there's a summary of changes. Is that the same thing? Which is very short. So I'm willing to try to do a sort of executive summary of the plan, to just explain what the plan in general does and what the changes are, which could then be posted or mailed or whatever you want, as long as it doesn't have to be done in the next week or so. I'd be happy to do that.
Hey, Jeff,
What? I'm writing an email to someone, finding out if we're on the ballot.
No, I think that'd be great, Jeff, if we had that for our next meeting to be able to then, I think next meeting would be still early enough, we'd be able to act on that, or is that too late being?
Well, what I would try and do, I'd try and get that done in the next 2 weeks. I would get it done in the next 2 weeks and circulate it to everybody. And it seems to me that, I don't know, I don't think you probably don't need to take a vote on it. It just, people could.
Right. I mean, I would be happy to look at it, and I promise I will look at it this time. I know.
Right.
And
So basically, it would be a public outreach document, which would say, here's what the plan does. Here's
Right.
what the changes are from the previous plan. Vote for this plan or we'll shoot your puppy. No.
What's that guy's name? What was his name? The Mad Magazine guy.
Yeah, vote for this plan or we'll put a horse's head in your bed.
There you go.
Alfred E.
hey,
Newman.
Newman.
Thank you, Alfred E. Newman.
Yeah, we'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
What, me?
Well, if you want to do
So-
that and send it to me or send it to anybody, that would be great.
So just a quick
Yeah.
update. I got an update from Sharon, the town clerk.
Mm-hmm.
I asked her if the plan was on the ballot yet, and her response was supposed to be, but have not seen wording. So I'm not sure where that leaves that. I mean, I'm back in the office on Friday and can touch base with her and find out.
Okay, no one has asked me for
The
wording.
wording is, do you approve the town plan?
I mean, how has this been done before? I mean, it's been approved by the select board. I kind of, all right. This
Yeah.
is about communication.
Let me touch base with Sharon on Friday when I'm in the office on Friday, and Valerie's also in the office on Friday, and
Okay,
I'll reach out to you, Katie, and figure out what the next.
when
step
is the deadline? It was.
I don't know.
Okay. I think it's the end of well,
It's late. It's like the end of January.
okay. Well, yeah, I just sent an email out as well. And it basically was, don't tell me it's not on the ballot.
Well, it's not. So I just asked her what the deadline is. We'll
Okay.
see if she responds to it.
All right, so glad I brought it up. And let's see. Thank you, Jeff. Do you see that as being front porch forum? Do you see it as being front porch forum and a mailer, both? And maybe,
I don't know the answer. I mean, I think certainly getting it on the plan website, and then we can give a link to it. And then we can decide what else we want
okay,
to do.
okay. So when you do that, and send it out, and that'd be great.
So I'll do the document, and then we can decide what we want to do with it.
Okay, great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it'd be great, Jeff, because I'll give a good foundation, and from there you can figure out how you want to disseminate it from there.
Okay.
Just have to have some illustrations in color.
Always love me some good
Why?
illustrations.
What?
I love me some good illustrations.
Some good maps.
I like stick figures right now. I'm almost mapped out.
Well, you better get a new job then.
Okay, so Sharon said the wording, I said, what is the deadline? She said they need to be finalized for next Monday's select board meeting. So, oh boy. Friday's gonna be pushing it. Oh, shnikes.
Well, let's take a look at, there must be an example of how it's supposed to be worded. Based on, we've done this before.
Let's see what I got. Let's go through what I've got here for other stuff.
Well, how about you can send some out if you can find that.
I have very little to nothing.
Would regional planning have a boilerplate?
Yeah, we can find it. I mean, it's out there. Plans get voted on all the time. So you're in Bristol tomorrow, Chris, correct?
No, I'm not back until Friday. I was there this afternoon.
Oh, you have a different schedule now?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mondays and Fridays, I'm in the office all day, and Tuesdays are admin days.
Okay. I'm going to suggest we move on if anybody else would like to keep talking about this. We know we have to get some things figured out. Anyone else have anything else to say on this? Okay. So then back to what I was discussing before is like kind of an overall, where do we want to go from here? And I mentioned one loose end, the zoning, the list of zoning issues that we need to go over, and if there are any other ones that have come up since, or any other, zoning issues that people have thought of since. And everyone knows what I'm referring to, don't you? When I mention that list of zoning updates that we talked about when we were working on the plan,
So
or actually when we were working on the subdivision regs, excuse me.
seems like we could or should have that laundry list. I don't
Right,
remember exactly what it was. And also I would think that we would have a list of what the implementation plan was and consolidated somewhat as a working thing for the plan, so that we could be ready once the plan's approved to start working on that as well.
because theoretically, we probably shouldn't work on anything on a plan that isn't approved yet, right?
Well, for the plan, but the zoning regs, we could
Right.
still do that. But I think, I mean, it was long enough ago that I don't really, I would need to go back and figure out what the,
Right, I have it, and it's all marked up, but we should maybe we could get a clean copy. You probably have it, Chris, but a couple things we made decisions on. The first one that my note says table was, the concern is home business not allowed in HDR. And allow home business in HDR as conditional use. So that was something we were going to discuss. I don't know if I should, it doesn't really make sense. I don't know, probably not ready to discuss these now, but it would be
Do you
good
have
to.
an actual written list, Katie?
Chris put a list together and we started to go over it at a meeting when we were finishing up the subdivision regs. And a couple of the items were just too big. We decided to table them for later discussion. And if we were going to change anything, we'd do it in the next update of zoning, or I'm sorry, Unified Development Regs. So we could put a new list together. Chris, you want to take this old list? Do you have the list still?
Yep.
And add whatever that share it. We can share it with the board. Add anything else that we think we might need, and have start going through them. Did you have a question, Tom?
Say if Chris can put that list together to give us a path to go forward, so that'd be good. And then from that, we can lay out future meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, if there's anything that you all think of that you would like on here, shoot me an email. It may be things that were hashed out before. It could be things that we should move. I would add that I didn't think of personally. I mean, I just look at it from a day-to-day operations, but if there's something that you think of, like we should allow pet grooming in the blah, blah, blah. I'm just something like that. If there's something that's really gnawing at you that you'd like to see changed, shoot me an email and I can add it to the list. And that way we have one unified list we're working from.
Chris, is the list, this is the email that's on the email you sent in April, is that correct?
Yeah,
That's
I
what
think
I'm
it was.
looking at.
It was a while ago.
I think the date that we discussed this was May 19th or something, or 9th.
Okay, that makes sense. There's an email from April 27th. I think some of these items we took care of that are on.
Some we
Yes.
did, some we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I'll clean up the list on what the changes that were made versus what's still out there. And like I said, if there's anything else that folks have that they would like to discuss, shoot them to me. I'll add them to the list and we'll go from there.
Yeah, why don't we just, actually, I think that would be good. And Rob keeps trying to raise his hand, or he keeps trying to get my attention.
I was just curious if anybody heard back from Peter following up on our last meeting, if that still needed to be addressed or not.
Right, let's
Yes, I
wrap this
did.
up and then we can talk about that, okay? Because I wanted to say, why don't we make this along with however we resolve, the follow-up with the public awareness piece. At our meeting in February, we can start discussing this zoning list.
Yep.
And start with what we have, or share something with Chris in the meantime. It's fine. And then we can all get one list and we can.
Is it reasonable to have the list out like a week before the meeting?
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, it's pretty much done, so.
Well, I mean, unless there's additions or changes to it, and there's a few other, I think, minor ones that I have that I'd like to add to it. So,
I mean, we can still use it as a live document too, but
yeah, no, I agree. The sooner you can have it, that way you can noodle it over, think it through, and sort of.
Okay, so Chris, will you be sending that list then?
Sure,
Okay.
I can do that.
So the next meeting is February. Oh, it's not Valentine's Day, is it? No. It is the 16th. So around the 9th?
Yeah, it would probably be that Monday, so the 8th probably. So with that being said, if folks could have stuff to me by February 1, that would be great. So that way I would have a chance to compile it and provide you with an intelligent list.
Okay. So we have a plan for our next meeting.
Nice.
That's good.
Well, I think it goes back to what you had in the agenda before, which we sort of skipped over, about what is the planning commission going to do next? Assuming the plan is approved, right?
Right.
What are we going to concentrate on? I would
Right.
think that would be a good topic for the next meeting.
Right. Well, those, I think some of these zoning issues actually tie into, I mean, I personally I'm interested in trying to follow up on some of the housing issues, and that ties into some of the zoning issues. And we do have in our implementation section action to try to do a survey of what are the housing needs in Bristol. That's something that I'm interested in, and then how where do we go from there? So, but maybe as well as sending Chris zoning issues, maybe everyone can put down something that you want to pursue in terms of projects and based on our implementation actions. And share that with the board or with me. And think about also, we're gonna have to, do we have to wait till March to have an election for the chair?
I would.
Okay,
Because
okay. Are you looking up something?
yeah, but I'm fine if you want to continue. I'm listening as well.
Melissa's here. She just sent me an email. Oh, there's our new member.
Oh my gosh. What an auspicious beginning.
It's all good.
I am so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm
Let me introduce you. We'll
Yeah.
just do the agenda in reverse. So I just saw your email and I was like, oh, well, I feel like we're maybe kind of wrapping up a little shorter meeting tonight. So unless someone would disagree with me there. So this is Melissa Hernandez, has joined the Planning Commission. And do you know everybody here? Or maybe I'll just call people out and they can say hello. This Lloyd, that's Lloyd Dyke, me, Tom Wallace. I'm sure you know some people.
Mhm.
Bill Sayre, Jeff Lundstedt, Rob Rooker, Chris Purley, Kevin Hansen, and Melissa.
yeah.
Well,
I would please accept my apologies. I'm closed this Monday through Thursday for cleaning and organization. Completely forgot it was Tuesday.
that's okay. Don't worry. Don't
So
worry.
off schedule.
Hey, it's okay.
You
So-
made it for at least part of it. That's a step in the right direction.
I thought
I was
you
afraid
might
you
have
changed your
bailed.
mind.
No,
So, you might have bailed and you didn't bail, and that's good.
no. I did have a question though.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I've just been so busy this week with what I'm doing, but can we invite people to speak about different issues, or is that to come to the Zoom meeting?
If we decide as a body that we want to do that, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
We just need,
Well-
yeah, definitely.
Well, they're public meetings, so anybody can come
Right.
Okay.
observe anyway.
And speak on a particular issue, sure.
Yes.
But we could also have someone come and do a presentation. So either way.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
that's been done multiple times. I mean, like, I just think like Katie, like the River Corridor folks, when they came in and they did their two presentations that were not on the agenda, it was I mean, we knew they were coming. They had asked us if they could do it. We penciled them in, and it works great quite often to have some outside influence and input.
Okay.
Well, and the timing is actually really good for that, because as I started this meeting out saying, this is like our basically our first meeting where we're functioning as a different, and we're still the Planning Commission, but we're different. It's a different role because we're not going to be reviewing applications anymore. We just finished the update of the plan. We finished the update of the Unified Development Regs and something else. I don't know. The energy plan, which is in the plan, and all that's been in the works for a while. So now that is done, except for the fact that the plan has been approved but not adopted. It has to be voted by the citizens of Bristol at town meeting day, whenever town meeting day is, and what form town meeting day will be. And so tonight we actually talked a while about how we were going to, we've had to do a couple outreaches like that, which we don't normally do, although we should, I think, but how we're going to do that. So we talked about that a lot. And then it also came up, just the fact that is the plan even on the article? And Ian just emailed me back and he said it's Article 5 on the ballot. So it is on the ballot, maybe not the wording, but it's, let me see what it says. It's currently Article 5. He has wording on there too, so I guess he knows something that Sharon doesn't know. So we were just going to confirm that, make sure that was on the ballot. So any other?
It once, so it's the plan, and that was as put forward from what you used to be. Not, you won't be doing that going forward.
Well, the plan needs to get updated every 8 years.
Okay.
So it needs to be readopted, and so that's statistics and different things, and it always seems like there's a new section that has to be put in there as basically mandated by the state.
Right.
And we had a couple of those. So we've actually been working on that for a couple of years. Yeah. Our Bristol plan is not regionally approved. Every municipal plan, it doesn't have to be regionally approved, but it's still a valid plan. But if it's not regionally approved, there's certain benefits. So you're not eligible for all the grants that you might be. There's implications with Act 250. And it's,
so are changes ever made to that plan once it's adopted, or
once it's adopted, you can make change. Yeah, you make changes in less than 8 years.
Right.
If you want. The thing about Bristol is one of 2 towns in the county that actually has to have a full town vote to approve the plan. So every time we make a change, we have to do a town vote.
Okay. That's just,
right.
I'm just trying to get an idea of how it works. And
yeah, I mean,
well, I can go over some of this stuff with you.
Yeah, the last time we modified the town plan without doing a major rewrite, which would have been a pure amendment, was the last time we made changes to it. After we passed zoning regulations, we had done things like we renamed the zoning districts. So we made those modifications in the town plan to reflect that, so that they were complementary documents. Still had to be voted on, but they were very minor changes. So changes like that, yeah, we can make them. I mean, that is as a planning commission.
Right. Okay.
And
we all get we'll get the meeting minutes emailed to us, so I can actually know what happened.
Right. So, yes, we actually, do you like to take minutes?
No, I don't think so.
I would really like to lobby for a minute taker.
So that's just on that note, Katie. I've had a discussion with Valerie. Her and I discussed it last week. I don't know where it's gone with the select board, if it's discussed, but possibly getting somebody to scribe all of the meetings that occur, not just ours,
right?
Similar to what the select board has. The issue with having one of you folks do it is whoever's taking minutes really is not participating in the meeting.
I know.
And if I'm not always available, so if I'm not available, that means one of you have to arbitrarily do it. So there's talk. She's working with the select board to possibly see if they want to create that as a position that would be basically scribe for the select board, planning commission, DRB, downtown review, and whatever boards that it may be behoove them meeting. So that discussion is in its infancy, but in the short term, yeah, Jeff's got it tonight. And you guys can draw straws for next meeting. And just to follow up as well, Katie, on as far as that goes, the charter doc for this group says that the Bristol Planning Commission shall elect its chairperson, vice chairperson, and clerk at its organizational meeting in May. Yep. So I assume the reason why they did that was March was typically the appointments. April, let them get their feet wet. In May, you had your meeting. I don't remember why we came up with May, but that sticks in my head.
You gotta listen to me yak up here for a little bit longer.
Only a few more meetings, and then you're free.
I mean, other people can talk. Okay. So, so in recap, yes, our minutes, we tend to, well, Bill Brown was doing them, and we would ask him to send them out a couple days, after, well, they actually have to be out in draft form. They have to be public in draft form within how many days? 5 days after the meeting, I think.
I think it's 5.
What?
I think it's 5.
Yeah. So they get put in draft form on the website, and we get them, and at the next meeting we make changes or whatever, and then they get updated. And then, I will, prior to each meeting, send out an agenda, which like you got. So I'll send out an email like you had for the next meeting. So you won't know this right away, but we're talking about, we had a list of proposed zoning updates that we were going to, that we started talking about when we were doing the subdivision regs. We tabled some of those topics. We want to tie that up and finish that conversation on certain zoning issues. Chris has a list that we were working on, things like, for example, one was home business is not allowed in the high density residential area. Why should they be? So we need to discuss that. If you have anything that you're interested in discussing or think needs to, so this is, I keep saying zoning, but it's the Unified Development Regs. Anything in there, regardless, with the exception of the new stuff that just got added in, the subdivision regs, but the old zoning regs, which are, the original zoning regs, are part of that. Let Chris know. Also, do you have all the documents did you get a copy or a file of the new Unified Development Regs?
Are you, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe I got.
Yeah, I can send that.
Yeah. It's possible, but I just, like I said,
Right. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So on that note, there's 8 or 10 copies at the hard copies at the town office if people prefer paper over electronic. Just swing in.
Okay.
Give Sharon give the office a call. Of course, the front door is locked, and just let them know you're coming.
Okay.
But there's, like I said, there's 8 or 10 copies I made this week that are there for both you and the DRB.
I'll do that. I'll go across the street and get a copy.
I thought you might be able to make it over there.
Yeah, I think I might.
Draft town plan also, Chris?
I did not print the town plan because we haven't finalized it yet.
Yeah.
It's one of those catch-22s. I mean, I can burn up the paper if somebody.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, there's one or two copies there for review if the public came in and asked for it. But I typically don't mass print them until we get it.
If Melissa wants to see it, the draft is on the town website on the first page, on the top front page.
Yeah.
Public notices.
That's the plan?
The draft.
Okay. I will look at that.
And if you
And I say
prefer
this
paper,
without any sarcasm, it's actually very interesting reading.
yeah, and if anyone here would prefer paper as well, just let me know. I don't mind making copies of it. I just didn't want to make 10 copies and end up having
I mean,
nobody pick them up.
I'd rather have a hard copy just because I do stuff on computers a lot. So I'd rather get away from that if I can.
So what I'll do is I'll make 3 copies. I'm not back in the office, Melissa, till Friday.
Okay.
I'll make 3 copies, and anyone who wants them to swing in and request them. And
Okay.
if there's more needed, just let me know.
Thanks.
I have something else I want to mention. I'm pretty sure I sent out an email about, I'm going to hold something up. This enabling better places, familiar? Did people, I'm holding it up because I can see it. Can you see the whole?
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, a little higher.
Okay.
Now we can see the title.
So this is a booklet that was put together by the Congress of New Urbanism, and it was the Creating Great Neighborhoods for Vermont. You're smirking, Rob. Do you know about this?
I was just chuckling at the Congress of New Urban.
I know. Anyways, the cover photo.
Oh yeah, I can see
is Bristol Co-Housing.
Bristol. Yeah.
Bill. And also, like, look at this back page.
Nice.
Anyways, they're doing a couple of webinars next week, which I thought I sent out to people. And that was also in the newsletter. But this guide, which I have a bunch of copies, I think it would be great if everybody, are there some in the office, Chris? This guide? Have you seen it?
It does not ring a bell.
Okay.
But I won't lie. I just started back in the office last week.
Okay. Well,
so I'm still getting my bearings back when I'm in the physical building. So
it basically has a lot to do with housing. So it has a lot to do with, options for tweaking zoning to create more housing opportunities and the different levels of it. So I think it's a good document. It doesn't always apply exactly to our density, but the general concepts are good. So I think I could actually send a online version if anybody would like a paper copy. I would be happy to send you one. Would anybody like?
Yeah.
A book?
Again, I'd like to have a paper copy.
Anybody else?
Kitty, how many? Do you have a handful of those?
I do.
You want to just drop them off at the office and have people pick them up as they need them?
Yeah, I don't have like hundreds. I have.
No, I mean
10.
You have 6?
Yeah. So this was done at a statewide level. 6 towns. They then looked at issues on a statewide level. They took 6 case study towns. The one in Addison County was Virgins. There were other towns across the state though that were maybe more similar to Bristol.
When was it published?
What?
When was it published? When did it come out?
It's just recently. It's not like it's not anything you know.
Like 2020, probably.
Yeah.
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 That's all.
So is there a PDF of this thing anywhere?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it's easily, I just found it online. It's easy to find.
Yeah. And I think actually the state website, the ACCD has a link to it in their community.
They do.
What?
They do.
Yeah. Okay.
It'd be great to send that out.
Yeah. Do you want me to do that?
I'd
I
appreciate
can
it.
send that link around. Okay. And not, well, anyways, look at it. It's interesting. I think they get a little too confusing about the way they get to some of their solutions, but the general concept of some really basic things that you can do to help with creating units. Okay, so we were just about to end. Do you have anything more you want to ask, Melissa, or?
Not right now.
I don't mean to be like ending the meeting, you know?
Yeah, no, just if I get all that information and I get the plan and can read through that, that will probably.
You and I, if you want to connect and we could talk as well, if you have specific
Sure.
questions that I can meet with you.
Okay.
Like I didn't do with other new members because it was just such a busy, crazy time. But
And again, I really apologize. It's just
that's
ridiculous.
okay. That's okay.
And I kept thinking about it all day when I was doing stuff, and when I just went right out of my head.
That's okay. Tom, you had something to say?
Make a motion, we dismiss.
Did you want to go over the peaker thing real quick before we dismiss?
Oh, forgot about that.
It's quick.
Sorry, Tom. All right. Back to Rob's question.
So Rob, to answer your question, I touched base with Peaker the next morning. So he had, his exact words were, he has no immediate needs that we need to address today. His bigger point was feeling incredible frustration that this has been an issue in front of the Planning Commission for quite a while, and was not addressed at all. And the fact that it was more of a serious point of disappointment that in the long term can and will impact his business. So that's pretty much where he left it, that he doesn't need a change tomorrow, but he would really like to see it queued up in the considering that it has been there since 2012, that there would be studies done to figure out quarrying, and no one's even discussed a study in that period of time. So that's where it stands. That's the update, and we'll leave it at that.
And did we take out the verbiage about doing a study too? I think we did, didn't we? In this current rendition?
I think it came out of the actual rendition, but I think it's still in the archive, in the appendix, in the archived extraction piece, but I'd have to look.
Okay.
That doesn't mean we can't do it. Just because
No,
it's.
but it just kind of,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. So that's also has to do with sort of a change of guard on the board. I mean, that was before I joined the board. Anyways, and only Bill Sayre has been here longer than me. And Chris, but you're in a different role.
So I'm not officially on the board. I've been here longer, but I am not in the same role.
So, okay.
And is Bill Brown off or on? I was a little confused at the beginning.
Me
Do we
too.
know?
I'm a little confused too.
I think Valerie needs to get clarity for that. And
I told him to contact you guys, Valerie and Chris. I said, Bill, talk to Valerie and Chris.
Yeah, and I have nothing to do with it. So it's really, that's Valerie needs to clarify that with him. And then if she wants to reiterate it to me and or Katie, and then we can get it out to the rest of y'all.
I'd like to second Tom's motion.
There we go.
Yeah.
All in favor? Okay. The meeting is adjourned.
Hold on, folks.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Night all.
All right.
Thank
So the
you,
next
everybody.
next
Have a
meeting
good
will be the
week.
16th of February, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I
Okay.
will be there
Bye-bye.
on time then.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Thank you.